It's an areological, autoerotical, tubular, bovular joy. An exposular, regional, bachical, pouchular, fun for girl and boy. A latissimal, dorsical, hung like a horsical, caliphalygical ball.
The most bunular, funnular.
Fruit of the lumula.
Frenchical, tongular.
Wabada, bobular, bunular, fruit of the lubular, frenchical, tongular, wabada, bobular, lessical, orbical, smirtus, bobular, tosa, particular ball. Hey!
Hey guys, how's the movie?
Oh, it's breastica, bubical, chestica, mammical, pendular, globular. Oh, for crying out loud, movie singing.
We're going.
Yep. Same intro as always.
Deathmatch podcast.
Deathmatch podcast.
Notice
Right into it.
Notice anything different about me?
Did you color your hair?
Yeah. No, I'm dressed as Nick Gage. Nick fucking Gage. Deathmatch wrestler Nick Gage. I had to. It was so easy. I was just happened to be wearing the shirt.
That shows you
Anyway.
how like.
And he wears his own shirts, so I can just put on 2 bandanas and change my shorts and look like him. So I wanted to pay homage to the king, Nick fucking Gage. Even though my last name is King, I still hail to the king, Nick
King
Gage.
Gage. Gage King. Yeah. Yeah.
For the Deathmatch podcast, I have to.
You can tell this guy's fucking like really ecstatic right now about this because usually he has some kind of shithead thing to say before we actually get into a topic, and he just went right into fucking Deathmatch. So
Yeah, I am really pumped about it. I'm really high also, but I'm also really pumped about it, and I haven't done the... Feels like I haven't podcasted in a week or so.
yeah, I think it's been about a week or so.
Yeah, feels like it. Feels like 2, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, actually, it does. I was itching to do this too, but life. So
So I want to know about your first knowledge of deathmatch wrestling. When did you first see some barbed wire in a magazine or?
Right around the same time as the backyard wrestling thing, because that's clearly, that's where we went with it. That's what we were trying to mimic anyway, half and half. So who introduced me to it first? I couldn't tell you. I can't remember. But it was right around the high school times. With he'll take credit for it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whose matches? Probably like who are those really 2 heavy set twins?
The Mushroom Boys.
Yeah.
Ponderosa and Swedenhouse.
Yeah, like
they are the Headhunters.
That was
Headhunter
yes,
A and Headhunter
right,
B.
Yeah,
they're excellent.
That's right. I got them on fucking Fire Pro. Anyway, so those are 2 of the first ones I saw. Matsunaga was another one.
Was that in Stranglemania?
No, I saw them
before that.
before Stranglemania.
Wow.
I saw them in Stranglemania after the fact, but it was before Stranglemania, watching it either at your house or Chris's house or, wherever. But I do remember seeing them beforehand. And then, because I didn't see Stranglemania, I think I saw...
That's early. They're not underrated. They were a crazy deathmatch tag team. But
back
they
in
were
the early mid-90s, yeah?
Yeah, FMW. That's the birth of the deathmatch scene, really, heavily. And the Japanese really kicked it off, and they were front runners for FMW back then. Yeah.
You say birth of the deathmatch scene. Could we maybe,
Japanese deathmatch? I guess I want to say that.
Could we stretch that out? And it's something that popped into my head. Like, do you think who are like the real originators of this? Like, we could go back to like Bruiser Brody and Abdul the Butcher, because those 2 are like 2 of the like. I don't know so much about
the Sheik.
Abdul, the Sheik.
Carlos Colon was doing it early on down in Puerto Rico.
Bruiser Brody was more just really stiff.
Yeah, he would also do wild crowd brawls and bleed and, get stabbed in the head by Abdullah. And I'm not into a whole lot of the really old stuff, but I'll certainly go back and watch matches with either of those 2 in it.
Yeah, absolutely, especially Abdullah.
It would be a combination of what they were doing, I think, and also, what a lot of people were doing, stuff like they would have, the Texas death match, which is not so much a death match, but a form of a last
chairs
man.
And shit like that.
Yeah, there's no rules, you know.
That's the 70s.
And that they would have, barbed wire cage matches with the sheep herders, and there's always been an existence of barbed wire, at least in North American wrestling, to some extent, but when it really kicked off with the crazy stuff and the explosions and...
It's funny you say barbed wire in like North America, because this is one of the things I was talking about, things that just kind of popped into my head. Not so much popped into my head, just observations I made when I was watching some of these on YouTube. North America, I was going to say the United States, but North America seems to, when they do death matches, it seems like their death match stipulations revolve around barbed wire. Whereas I've noticed in Japan, it doesn't really revolve around anything. Like, there'd be piranhas in some I saw, which that's insanity. Beds of nails and other like scissors, like you've brought up before. They're not always barbed wire centered though, where it seems like in America, a lot of the matches, like there's a barbed wire, some huge barbed wire, so either the no ropes barbed wire match, or you've gone to a shit ton of these. You've sent me videos, just posted them or whatever, like trampolines with spiderweb barbed wire like built into them and everything. Everything's barbed wire oriented in North America.
There's a lot of it. I mean, it even looks different in Japan. They do use plenty of it over there too. There are a lot of matches that will just have one thing. Even matches, I like matches with maybe just light tubes, just one stipulation, or a match with just tacks or something like that. But there is a lot of different usage. Maybe it's more abundant over here in the United States. Maybe it's cheaper. There's more land, more cattle. But they probably barbed wire. They probably imprison people over in Japan with the shit, right?
It's kind of afraid of it.
So, FMW, the early, then Onita was one of the guys, and of course, Cactus Jack, and Terry Funk, too. You have to consider Terry, too.
Yeah. Absolutely, Terry Funk.
He was in a lot of the hardcore North American stuff as well, so the first you saw of it really was just diving right into it with the Headhunters and just FMW stuff, huh?
Yeah. Well, that was some of the stuff. That was more for recollection. I remember them and Matsunaga.
I remember a picture in the back of a PWI magazine. I recently found it. I had a whole stack of magazines, and the first picture I ever saw, I remember, was it was in the back of it. It was at a truck stop. It was Ian Rotten laying face down in a pit full of broken beer bottle glass with Mad Pondo standing on his back.
What?
And I had this stack of magazines, and I was thinking, man, that's the first deathmatch thing I ever saw. How cool would it be to find that in these magazines? That might take a while, but maybe I have it. And then it was in the first magazine I grabbed. And that was my earliest memory of seeing the deathmatch stuff.
I think, when did that Raw magazine come out with Mick Foley? It was like an exclusive on Mick Foley, and they had pictures of him over in Japan as Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like 98 or 99 that came out. I remember that's probably the first time I saw anything about deathmatch wrestling over there,
really cool.
Or any kind of like notoriety or anything about it. So that's, I guess, when it kind of was brought to my attention. It's like there's this whole other thing called deathmatch. Like, the fuck is that? Like,
and he won the first, what I believe to be the first ever deathmatch tournament, the IWA King of the Deathmatch in '95, I think it was.
Right.
Against Terry Funk in the finals.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. When you go as far as deathmatch tournaments, how many people have won? He's only won the one, but he was one of the originators to go over there and do it.
It's like, it's kind of a stage-setting deal. This really started it all.
So what did you think about the guys I told you to check out?
Matsunaga? Mm-hmm. I watched some of Matsunaga's stuff, and the thing is like, all right, for any fan, I'll speak to any generic fan of wrestling. If you watch Japanese deathmatch, you have to watch it with a different frame of mind than just like professional wrestling. Especially
on mute, some people are bothered by the commentary.
All right. I was strictly talking about the wrestling. You have to watch it with a different frame of mind. I kind of equate it to the same way of watching like old horror movies and stuff. You can't watch it the same way you would watch something like modern or new. You can't watch Japanese deathmatch wrestling the same way you would watch like NXT or the coming AEW or anything like that. It's slower paced, way slower paced. Everything builds up to the next big spot. And a lot of times it's slower paced just for the fact that, like for Matsunaga's matches, there's been a lot of barbed wire where the fucking ropes are on fire. So you see them go outside the ring and douse themselves in water just to cool the fuck down.
Or gets caught on fire, or somebody will be laying in a pit of glass and have to get back into the ring.
Or the glass is scalding hot because it's next to or on fire itself. So the match is very slow, but exciting slow.
The scenes, the settings are very dramatic as well, being dated and being huge arenas and some of the theatrical
outside. A lot of them are outside.
In the middle of a pool.
A lot of the tournaments are outside. Mm-hmm. For good reason, too. They probably can't be inside. I was never... It really still never... Like, I'm not a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. I appreciate it. I can sit down and watch it and be entertained, but I, like you know, like, I've always loved... like the technical / lucha libre style of wrestling, like that really fast paced boom 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 like hits and stuff like that. That's always been my thing. Like Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, like we said before, like where they mix weapons, and Sabu too, where they mix weapons and wrestling. 2 of my all-time
favorites, Rob Van Dam and Sabu.
They mix weapons and wrestling together, like, and I think that's awesome. That's like the perfect style for me. Like it's got extreme moments, but they have a lot of like spots and sequences and stuff like that, and I love that. Absolutely love that. So going from that to just watching straight deathmatch wrestling, it slows way down. So like I said, you have to watch it for what it is.
What did you think of Matsunaga's character?
Doesn't really have. That's another thing. Like, I didn't really see much of character. I
immediately thought he was awesome because he's always the bad guy, and he has bright blonde hair, and he's a Japanese guy, and so that reminds me of being like the bad leader of a dojo in some Japanese movie, or like he's like the bad guy from another fucking dojo, and he's always wearing the karate outfit, and he does strikes and shit. He doesn't run the ropes really, and he always has the barbed wire bat. And I was just always a huge Matsunaga fan, even more so than Onita. And well, what about Hayabusa? I'm sure you're familiar with Hayabusa.
Hayabusa's awesome.
He could be considered a deathmatch wrestler. He was in exploding cage matches and all this other crazy shit. So he's maybe one of the top of the line guys over there. But what you were talking about, the faster paced lucha libre high flying style, deathmatch wrestling is at a peak for that, I think, right now, as far as a lot of the top guys.
Maybe right now, yes. But back, like watching back then, no, not at all.
I still love that shit. I love the hack. They call it hack and slash.
Yep.
2 big fat guys just breaking stuff on each other's heads.
Like Supreme. That was one of the ones I watched was Matsunaga versus Supreme, and Supreme's this roly-poly looking guy.
What? Where'd you watch that?
YouTube. It was like one of the first ones that came up.
Are you sure it was Supreme?
Yeah.
Really?
It said fucking Supreme. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Matsunaga versus Supreme. Some death match. I watched that, and Supreme getting all lit up on the outside.
Matsunaga was also prone to... He's one of the first guys to jump off a balcony over in FMW. I think he might have been in a match with the Headhunters when he did that.
Right.
Actually, and he was in the crocodile match where the loser had to wrestle a 3-4 foot crocodile in a casket match, and he grabbed it by the tail and threw it in the casket easily and just closed the lid. But,
how else would you see that end though? Like you can't.
He got thrown into the tank of piranhas.
Is that the one where he got thrown in, and then whoever he was facing jumped on top of the tank?
They threw a barbed wire board over top of it to close him in.
I saw that, and I can't. I watched that like a year or two ago, and I might have been up at the fitness center, and I showed Kim up there. I'm like, you want to see something crazy? And I show her. She's like, oh my God, what is that? I go, there's piranhas.
How awesome is that? He runs a steakhouse over in Japan. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag him in this, I think. He'll be the only person I tag.
Why not?
I'm going to get him to block me somehow. I'm going to dress up like him. I've been meaning to dress up like him in a deathmatch tournament. I want to cut my hair and just get a karate gi and just have a barbed wire baseball bat and dress like him for the whole day and send him a whole series of weird pictures on the internet that get weirder.
Drinking coffee.
Progressively weirder, you know. I am you, just weird. Through Translator. I'll double run it through Translator. I'll turn it to Spanish, then to Japanese, so it's just all fucking gobbledygook about God and Jesus and me being him and his twin son and his brother and his...
I'm your son, twin brother, uncle.
Be like a real fucked up fortune cookie. I love Matsunaga though, and I think you put that perfectly, talking about just how how it's dated, but it's to me it's like watching.
It's dated in the same way that 80s wrestling is.
It's like an old fight scene from a corny movie, and with fire and glass and shit. I love it.
If you watch like 2 wrestlers today wrestle in the 80s style, it'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, it'd be way too slow paced. But you can go back and watch wrestling from the 80s and be like, this is fucking awesome. Like, it's the same thing with, like, that, old Deathmatch. Like, like, nowadays, like, it's just not going to happen if they do it that way. But you can go back and watch that shit and be like, yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And who's the other one I told you to watch? The other two?
Oh, I can't remember right off the... Oh, Mr. Pogo, that was one.
Mr. Pogo is just an often adversary of Matsunaga and Onita as well.
I couldn't find anything on Mr. Pogo.
He passed away 4-5-3-2 a few years ago, unfortunately. Rest in peace, Mr. Pogo. But he was pretty awesome. He always came out with a bag of tricks. He had the scythe and different knives and shit, and he would stab Onita in the back for real. And
is that the same Mr. Pogo from fucking JCW?
Yeah, no doubt. He never wrestled in the United States on Stranglemania, you mean, right?
No, JCW, not Stranglemania.
No, Mr. Pogo was from XPW.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
XPW, home of Supreme, yeah. Mr. Pogo was an XPW guy. He did some cool stuff as well. XPW had some cool deathmatch shit. They had 3 years worth of tournaments over there. 2 of them were good. They had a few good guys over there.
That was the King of the Deathmatch Championship there, Necro Butcher and who the fuck? Actually, I think
Necro and Supreme at the reunion show.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Necro is one of the all-time.
I have any favorite in deathmatch, it's Necro Butcher.
Yeah, that's righteous.
Love Necro Butcher.
That's righteous. I'll tag him in this too, so he can ignore it. Maybe I'll throw some political bullshit in there. He's always like strongly Republican on Facebook.
So if you do happen to make it this far, Necro, awesome, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And in The Wrestler, awesome movie. Anyway,
I'm sure he's never heard that before. You're probably the first one to ever compliment his work. Actually, James Franco at the Emmys was, but you're probably the second one to ever compliment his role in that.
Yeah.
What about Jimmy Havoc? Did you get to watch any of his stuff?
No, I know who it is. I have seen some of his stuff, but that as far as like a
was a trap
recap kind of deal.
I don't like Jimmy Havoc.
Oh.
No.
And then you sigh.
That's it. I'm not even going to elaborate on it. I don't even want to. Actually, I think we should start this over again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm done. It just killed it for me. So I made a list of all the winningest deathmatch wrestlers of all time in the history of deathmatch tournaments. And the way that I did it, I started out by writing out a list of every deathmatch tournament known to me. And I narrowed it down to North America, which a lot haven't happened in Japan. A few have. Few have happened in Canada. Some have happened in Mexico. But I ruled those right out. And I just wrote down everything. And then I decided to differentiate between promotions that have run a deathmatch tournament for at least 3 years to give it some notability, so it will count. And then those that to not count the ones that have run for 3 years or less. And I quickly realized that out of the list that I made, all the wins except for one were from tournaments that have ran for 3 years or more. A lot of them have run for 10, 15.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to do that at all. I could have just started from the top and thought of who I pretty much knew was the number one guy and worked backwards. But this is what I have.
A bunch of work for no reason.
This is what I have for that.
All right.
Brain Damage. Have you seen any Brain Damage's work?
No.
Rest in peace, Brain Damage. He's won 2 deathmatch tournaments, but 2 tag team deathmatch tournaments with a partner, which I count as half of a win for a tournament. So that equals 3. So he's won 3 tournaments. Currently, G-Raver. Do you know G-Raver? He has won 3, I believe 4, but he just won 1 last week, and there was hardly any weapons in the tournament. And the main event to the deathmatch tournament, they had a cardboard box with gusset plates on it and a light tube.
How do you not?
Fans didn't bring enough weapons. They relied too heavily on the fans to bring the weapons or something like that.
Oh, I was just saying, how does that work?
I don't know if that really counts, but if he in fact has won 4 deathmatch tournaments, he's a modern day legend. That puts him into modern day deathmatch legend status.
10 years or so, he'll be right.
No, he's already there. With one more solid tournament. That's 4, and that's, there's not a lot of guys that have that. Another guy that does, Ian Rotten.
Yeah.
You know Ian Rotten.
I've seen some of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about Ian?
You know, it's really hard to like say, well, what do you think about Ian or what do you think about Pondo or anything? Because a lot of their styles are quite similar, especially in just straight deathmatch wrestling.
Ian and Pondo were actually two of the originals that, and Axel Rotten as well, who brought the deathmatch style over to the United States in the
ECW days. Well, Ian was in ECW, yeah.
No, even the early to mid '90s elsewhere, like in the truck stop. That was a NWA show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They did that crazy shit a lot of different places down south, places like that. But they were some of the originals, the fat hack and slash guys. But Ian has won 3 tournaments. 2 of them were his own, though. And one of them was a one-off.
Does that count, then?
It does, because I think it does because he invented that tournament, and it ran for 18 years or so. And, I mean, he did book it.
I don't know. That's like starting your own promotion and becoming the heavyweight.
But he got his
champion.
ass kicked, and he didn't win it for 10. He won 2 early on, and then just got destroyed in it for 10. Well, got fucked up in it for 10 years. So I don't know. And he won a one-off tournament on the West Coast.
Yeah. So
he's got 3, 4, and now the people with 4. This is 3rd place for the most ever. It is a 4-way tie. Nick fucking Gage. 4 tournament wins, Eastern Bloc, and so on. Necro Butcher, 4 tournament wins. Choose Death, the Necro Butcher.
Yeah.
4 tournament wins. What do you think about that? What's your favorite Necro Butcher match?
Any of them. I can sit down and watch, like, seriously, I can sit down and watch any Necro Butcher match and just be completely content and entertained.
That's true.
Like, just any of them.
Corporal Robinson.
Not surprised. He came up a lot in deathmatch searches, Corporal Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Just retired like last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was it health reasons he retired?
Not so much. He has health issues. But yeah, probably just being old and fat. And,
I know he allegedly retired 10 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I was under the impression he was done. Because it was actually when he was wrestling in JCW that was brought to light. He relinquished the title and then like was out. And yeah, I was under the impression he was done. And then all of a sudden, like a year or so later, he just popped back into like the wrestling scene. Like, well, that was like short lived.
Well, he's first. I wanted to go back quick to Ian Rotten. Do you think the fans love Ian or hate Ian? Do you think he has a great reputation backstage or a horrible reputation?
Probably a horrible reputation. Awful. Because he's a fucking... Well, he was a heroin addict, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Some shit like that. Like dirty
Maybe
fucking...
not. Probably, but he would tell you, I just did pills. I only snorted pills for a month. I only snorted 10 of them. When I was doing pills, I only had 100 of them. I only sold 10 of them to so-and-so.
From what I heard, it was dirtier than that.
And then we were talking about Corporal Robinson. That Corporal Robinson also is obviously as much of a cigarette smoking, beer pounding, fucking do any drug. I just imagine. I imagine that he
dumb fucking
has vacuumed a lot of things up his nose and what?
That stupid fucking saying he had. I just remember in JCW's like people like what the hell was it? Can't. Yeah,
you can hunt, but you can't kill, but you can't beat, but you'll never conquer.
He's like,
bitch.
Yeah, he's like, you fear what you don't understand.
Yes.
You can't beat what you can't, or something stupid like that. I'm like, that is such a fucking bad catchphrase. It's so bad.
He's been in a lot of great matches, though.
Yes, he has.
Even as even as recently as 3 years ago, he was still having banger ass death matches. It's unfortunate that he retired, but I'm sure he'll be back. So Necro, Corporal Robinson, and Pondo has 4.5 wins, and Gage also has 4.
How do you get 0.5?
He won a deathmatch tournament with Too Tough Tony.
Yeah, there's another one, Too Tough Tony, which I didn't even really think about until you just said that, but he's been in some death matches, like the fucking flaming fist there he's got.
Yeah.
That was cool shit. I mean, the first time I saw that, I was like, that's a cool fucking finisher that you'll never see in any big organization.
He would do the corkscrew splash to the floor through tables and shit like that off the top rope. I always really enjoyed that. So you could say that Pondo is the 3rd winningest deathmatch wrestler of all time with 4.5 wins.
Fair enough.
Which is appropriate. He's still active today. Number 2.
Is he really?
Yes.
He's been out for like 20-some years.
He just took a top rope Canadian destroyer from John Wayne Murdoch through a barbed wire board on chairs off the top rope.
That really...
From what I understand, he pretty much landed on Murdoch's head and squished his head, and it didn't look too good. I haven't seen it yet.
That's quite the testament to him. It's one thing to be in wrestling, just wrestling for 20 years, because it's fucking brutal. But to be in deathmatch wrestling for 20 years, like, the guy's like indestructible.
Oh, he does a lot of non-deathmatch wrestling. He's probably down to maybe 1 deathmatch a month. I don't know. Maybe less. But
That's still 12 a fucking year.
And I'm sure he's still getting hit in the head with his own stop sign and bumping on the floor and doing crazy shit in his non-deathmatch ventures as well. Number 2, winningest ever, Daniel Tiberius Havoc. You know Danny Havoc at all?
I haven't watched any of his matches.
No, Danny's been started with CZW. He's been around for a long time. He retired a few years ago. He's one of the best ever, for sure. Statistically as well.
Right.
And in the number 2 spot with 5 tournament wins, Masada. You know Masada?
Yeah.
Wasn't he one of the ones
You didn't send me at all, no.
Wasn't he one of the ones I told you to...
No.
Wasn't he one of the ones I told you to fucking research, James?
No.
I didn't tell you to...
No.
Are you sure?
Yep.
All right. Put the text message there where it says Masada.
I will.
All right. So Masada and Danny Havoc tied for number 2 with 5 tournament wins apiece. Number 1 most winningest deathmatch wrestler ever. Winning.
Oh my God.
Winning Lord of Anarchy Night 1, NGI 2017, Masters of Pain 2012, Tournament of Death 15, Carnage Cup 2013, and IWA King of the Deathmatch 2014 and 2015. Fat fuck barrel boy.
Really?
No.
Oh.
Matt Tremont.
Okay. I know Matt Tremont, but...
Fat fuck barrel boy has won a deathmatch tournament.
Has he?
Yes. Mean Mitch Page, formidable deathmatch wrestler, who also came up with Corp and Pondo and those guys.
Fat fuck barrel boy.
Yep. There was a clip where years and years ago in the early days of deathmatch wrestling in North America, Madman Pondo takes a large wooden and or plastic cuckoo clock and bashes Mean Mitch Page in the head with it, and it splinters to pieces and cuts his head in a semicolon, like a huge slash to the point where his head is hanging down over the top, over his ear.
Right.
His whole head was just hanging off. That was pretty remarkable.
Finish the match?
No. His fucking head was hanging off. You could see his skull.
Listen, you've seen crazier shit, so you never fucking know.
Pondo
never know.
Pondo staples it back on, takes the fucking cuckoo clock, rebuilds it into a house, then has Mitch Page have a family. They grow up and live there. Pondo burns the house down in front of him, cuts the other side open with a different cuckoo clock. False finish, Schoolboy, 1-2, false finish, Canadian Destroyer, Page goes over big. So Matt Tremont, number 1 deathmatch tournament winning guy of all time, which is great, makes sense. He carried it on his back for a time when Gage was in prison. There was a rough period for a few years where wasn't a lot of great deathmatch wrestling going on. And Tremont has won a lot of them, and he deserves it. You ready for deathmatch show and tell?
Deathmatch show and tell. Is this some of your memorabilia?
Yeah. This is actually all from different death matches. This is a gusset plate.
Right.
From, I believe, Matt Tremont versus Miedo Extremo. What do you think about the gusset plate?
These, we probably could have gotten away with these back in the day.
I am glad that we didn't have those back in the backyard wrestling days, because I would have probably told somebody to punch one into my arm or done something stupid, and I would be a non-deathmatch wrestler and have some kind of a crazy-looking grid scar in my arm where it looked like I was self-harming myself You think you could?
Well, we were self-harming.
We were. But do you think you could have been? Do you think you would have used those back? Could I have talked you into that?
Probably in the moment, it probably could have happened. We
Yeah.
were stupid.
Super dangerous.
Yeah.
Guys headbutt those into each other's heads. Have you ever seen that?
Definitely wouldn't have been comfortable.
They do chops with them, and like a match will just pick up though, because a guy will put one of these on a guy's arm and hammer it into his arm, and then maybe into his chest right here, and then the guy's just bleeding all over. And then these are pretty awesome, I think. I used to use these as beds of nails for my action figures. I picked them out of the burn pit at my house because they were off of rafter pieces and they were all burnt up and charred, and I used them as bed of nails.
Yep.
You don't remember I used those for?
Maybe.
I never imagined, even in using these in action figure death matches, that one day deathmatch wrestlers would use
We'll be using them?
As much as I love death matches, I had probably even thought of it as a kid and was like, no, man, that's too fucking gnarly. That would be too fucking dangerous.
You go to the hardware store and just kind of take a pan around and be like, well, that hasn't been used yet.
That's tough to do even.
Nowadays, yeah, it probably is.
Everything. This is a Kenzin. Do you know what that is?
This is so close together, though. That's the thing. Like all these barbs.
That's primarily used for headbutting into a guy's head or putting on a guy's head and whacking into his head with a chair.
That, yeah.
Abdullah Kobayashi of Big Japan Wrestling fame was the first one notable for having one of those. He's a big fat. He has an Abdullah the Butcher style gimmick. He looks like Abdullah. He's a big fat Japanese guy.
Right.
And he got one of these hammered so hard into his head that they backstage the EMTs had to use like forceps and shit to pry it out of his head, and it took like 3 minutes, and they plucked it out of his head. And these are pretty disgusting. Also, they're used for
pretty heavy too.
Super heavy. They originated in Japan.
It's like a paperweight with a bunch of fucking nails coming out of it.
I first heard they were used for Japanese floral arrangements, and like at the Japanese market, like you put one on a stand and stick a banana, weird Chinese fruit onto it, something like that. But they sell them at Michael's craft store. They're called metal frog or spiky frogs. You can find them as in the United States. They use them for floral arrangements and shit like that, I guess. You stick flowers in there and they stand up.
Whatever looks brutal.
But fucking sweaty guys hammer them into each other's heads in fucking warehouses in New Jersey.
I wonder if the people that came up with these inventions actually know about what else they're being used for.
And the staple gun.
Yeah, that's a staple in deathmatch wrestling.
And you know what comes next, right? The staple gun spot.
Oh. We're going to take a bump on camera. It's on camera.
All right.
All right. Oh.
Wow, that went all the way in. That didn't really hurt.
It's in.
That'll probably hurt pretty bad in a minute. I should probably take that out, actually.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
That totally went. That's pretty long, too.
Yeah, that'll feel like a bruise.
Your turn.
I'm not doing that shit.
No?
No, I'm all done with that, man. I'm all retired from that shit.
It's not even that rusty. It's not even pointed. It's fucking... What the fuck kind of staples are square on the end? That's horrible.
It's not even that rusty.
That was a bad life choice.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm alright.
There's a fucking wrestling spot.
How much money will you give me to staple Charlie on the show? Just go like this.
I want to see his reaction.
Now he'd be pissed. I wouldn't do that. I'd have to fuck him up if I did that to him and he got pissed. I wouldn't put him in that position. I'd put him in the first dangerous position, but the second one.
Holy balls.
So I've always gravitated towards crazy stipulation matches, even since I was a kid. I can remember in the 90s, I really loved the, oddly enough, the hog pen match with Henry Godwin, and Triple H.
Triple H, yeah.
Just the fact that they fought out into the crowd,
Just because
and
it's odd.
backdropped each other or fight, yeah, and the Boiler Room Brawl, predating the
Hollywood
Hell in the
backdrop
Cell. Even.
brawl.
That I have written down.
Viper.
I have written down. As a matter of fact, I always gravitated towards stuff like that, and also, of course, like even
Crush and Macho Man.
That not so much. I watched that as an adult 3-4 years ago and was not impressed with it.
I haven't seen it since.
He didn't really string them up so much to where they did fight out in the crowd and it ended out
Yeah.
but it did end backstage.
He like hung up by his feet on a fucking crane or some shit like that. Like,
So I've always
lift.
gravitated towards towards that kind of thing. So I was quick to jump onto the Hell in the Cell and the ECW and stuff like that. And the first CZW, I'm not sure what I saw first. If it was CZW Bloodbath 2000 or History of Big Japan Death Matches Volume 2.
Big Japan. That's a name you don't hear a lot anymore.
They're still around. They're
Are
still.
they?
Oh yeah, they've been doing death matches since we heard about them.
Say, I haven't heard anything about
There's
Big
other
Japan in a long time.
there's other Japanese death match promotions now, but Big Japan is one of the staples, if you will.
Big Japan.
Big Japan. When then CZW did the crossover with Big Japan. Do you remember that? Did you?
Yeah, I
show
do
you any of
remember that. Mm-hmm. That's right.
That was amazing. Because I got into those at the same time. So Bloodbath 2000, I'm sure I showed you that also. The main event was Pondo and Ian.
Right.
And that's with the scissors, where Madman Pondo and Ian take turns taking a pair of scissors and literally cutting each other, not from ear to ear, but putting 4-inch gashes on each other's heads and taking a big chunk out of Pondo's arms with the scissor. The story with that, I understand, is that they had done it before with different pairs of scissors, not to that extreme. And the pair of scissors they had been given were brand new.
Yeah.
And that's how they were able to just seriously fucking maul themselves. But I had no idea about that. I actually asked Pondo that at the gathering a number of years later. But I had no idea at the time. And not having any idea and seeing that going down in a small storage warehouse in
This is
in
fucking
Sewell, New Jersey, wherever the fuck it was, seeing a video of that in front of 100 people just, maiming themselves for life. I thought it was, people do that. Spider Boudreaux and John Rare do shit like that. People do shit like, but seeing that as my first real glimpse into it, as my first event, and that as the main event, was pretty crazy for me. And of course, the Big Japan Deathmatch tape also was nuts for me. And I was off to the races after that, as far as eating up all the CZW shit I could. And
you know what, like, shitty, like, it looks cool, I guess, on camera, but to me it just really takes away from the entire match is every time they use fire. Because it slows everything way down. Because and there was what was
no, not all the time.
what match? Well, yeah, when they surround the ring and fire. And all that shit.
Yeah, of course, flaming tables and shit are awesome. But you're right.
Well, flaming but that's like this one little spot thing. That's one thing. But
Over time, they learned to not ignite everything all at once. The first few were complete disasters. One had Sabu in it.
Yeah,
they lit the
and
ring
they
up and they
couldn't
just had to
fucking-
immediately bail out.
Yeah, because it got so goddamn
I think
hot.
they evacuated the building. The fire alarms went off, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over time, they learned to have the young boys stand at ringside with torches and light the sides of the ring when
Don't
applicable.
they do it in like a time frame or something like that, like, or by time limit or something?
Probably.
I saw before, like, I don't know how long it was, but like there was some kind of like signal given, and all of a sudden someone would light one of the ropes on fire, and then X amount of time would pass, and all of a sudden they'd light another side of the ring on fire.
That's even better. That's very smart of the Japanese to make it seem more systematic as opposed to,
Instead of just,
we're ready, go.
Everything's on fire, then like they're in the ring for 30 seconds, like, I can't fucking...
Japan has always been up one on us with their setups also.
Up one? You watch some of their they're up a lot more than one. I tell you what.
Yeah, you're right. Cage of Death Cage of Death is a pretty big spectacle as far as that's the one time a year you can really count on something totally ridiculous. I mean, as far as back in the day, I remember a match with Axl Rotten, and it was a tag match or a 6-man. They had 6 huge black balloons that were must be 6 feet across, and there was 6 of them, and they were above the ring, and at the 5 or 10 minute mark they exploded and rained thumbtacks all down in the ring.
Really?
They were
That's
full
cool.
of tacks.
That's cool.
Have you ever seen the no rope exploding barbed wire match where they're on the ring is in the middle?
I've seen A. I don't know.
The ring is in the middle of an Olympic-sized pool.
No. Wait, yeah, maybe I have. The C4s or whatever on the outside.
Yes.
Of the ring. Yeah.
When they fall out of the ring, it explodes.
Yeah.
And even though they fall underwater, it is still such a significant explosion above them that you're still thinking like they're in significant danger. You know?
It's like that shockwave just knocked them the
Mike
fuck
Awesome
out.
was in that. Tanaka. I'm a huge Mike Awesome and Tanaka fan. That's maybe my favorite feud in wrestling, period.
Yeah.
And that got its
And they
roots in FMW.
They were stiff. They were stiff. Their chairs were stiff.
Mm-hmm. What else do I have here? Have you ever seen Nick Gage die?
No.
Do you know about it?
No.
So it was during the finals of Tournament of Death, and they had the ropes were lined with light tubes, and he got shit canned by Thumbtack Jack out of the ring. But it was full of light tubes, so he just dove through a bunch of them, and he was wearing a white Jordan jersey that was previously soaked with blood. But he cut a main artery, or he cut, I don't know, I'm not going to try to, I don't want to be misquoted on the terminology, but he cut an artery under his armpit.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as he lands on his ass, and you could see him lift his elbow up, and you can see just the kind of the form of the shape of the cut, and as soon as he does, you just see blood goes all down his side, and he puts it down, and then he was taken backstage, and there's actually footage of it. It's pretty awesome. He's saying, they're saying, you got to do this. We got to stabilize it. We got to get him out of here. Just let me go out there. I'm going to win it. Let me go out there. I'm going to hit the fucking choke breaker. 1, 2, 3. No, Nick. No. This is serious. You got to go to the hospital. No, fuck that. I'm going to win this fucking thing. Just let me go out there and hit my finish.
What the fuck?
Which I think might even put him at 5. I think that might put him in a 3-way tie for the second most winningest deathmatch wrestler of all time. So had he not died in the helicopter ride on the way there, his heart stopped beating for 4, 5, 6 minutes or something like that. Yeah, he had he was medevaced from DJ Hyde's parents' house in Townsend, Delaware, in the middle of nowhere, to a hospital. And they asked him about it. It was a $32,000 flight.
Oh yeah,
And they
I
asked
bet
him
you
on the
it was
interview.
more than that, because usually the bill they get is actually no one ever fucking pays those bills.
Yeah.
I tell you that, just being a first responder.
Yeah,
Like those
they said, who paid that? And he goes, I don't fucking know. I ain't fucking paying it.
Yeah, and that's what most people do. Those helicopter rides are like, no joke, like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 rides, and they only charge like 20 or 30,000, and they never see that.
How funny is it that is literally the number one thing you could spend your money on, and it's the easiest thing for people to be like, fuck you, I'm not paying for that. You saved my life, you won 32 grand, go suck a dick. You know?
And yeah, and that's not a uncommon thing. Is when
People will hound you if you owe $20 on a
seriously
lawnmower.
Meanwhile, fucking like paramedics coming in with a helicopter is like, well, all right. What the fuck?
I guess they're happy to fly the chopper, maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
They see a guy up. What do you think they thought flying into that scene? Into just a wrestling ring in a backfield with 1,000 people around it.
Well, it's one of these again.
Another one.
Who's gonna die this week?
You've seen the Janela Zandig roof bump, right? That's the one that went on ESPN. That was 3 years ago or so. Zandig gave Joey Janela what was supposed to be a mother effing bomb, his finisher, which is a gorilla press slam into a Falcon Arrow off a ridiculously high roof. And their landing target was a quad cab pickup with a ladder rack on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a couple barbed wire boards above that, a layer of light tubes, and they set that on fire. And then to brace their fall, Zandig set this up himself, a net of barbed wire across the bed of the truck that not even the fans could see. That was there to brace their fall. And the suspension of the truck was supposed to help as well, which it did. But it was too close to the building, and Zandig ended up pencil diving into the back of it and dropping Joey in front of him. It's considered one of the craziest bumps in deathmatch wrestling history. It's undoubtedly in the top 3, maybe the top 1, just the pure height of it. I think they were 25 feet in the air.
It's enough to kill someone.
Mm-hmm. So it's net of barbed wire, a board on a ladder rack, another board, maybe another board on top of that, a couple layers of light tubes. That's all on fire. Falcon arrow off the roof, but Zandig has to land like straight like this. He has to land like a pencil, so he immediately breaks his back. And
Really?
Yeah, like in at least one place. Like fucked him, so he walks with a cane now. Hasn't wrestled since. Joey, he protected Joey by landing so shittily himself, because if he jumped, he would have overshot and thrown Joey half on the roof of the truck, half into the bed of the truck, and bent him in half.
Right.
But Joey lands, and initially he said that he thought a piece of light tube had fallen and almost entirely severed his thumb. But in hindsight, he now thinks that it was landing in the barbed wire net that did it.
Really?
He said it was all pretty much just a flash when they landed. But being there in person, watching that was unlike watching wrestling even. They went up to one roof, then they went up to another roof, which was, the first roof was 20 feet, and then the other one was 25 feet. And it was, I always equate it to standing and watching somebody standing in the middle of the road with a car coming at them going 60, and them saying, I'm going to jump over this car. And I'm on the sidewalk watching like, holy fuck, is this going to happen?
Geez.
Standing there watching that happen. It was like watching a stunt performer. It was amazing. And the other one, of course, Zandig and Mondo. They were the originators, the ones that was the original bump that was based off of Tournament of Death 2. You don't remember that?
No.
Zandig and Mondo going off the roof. That was a pretty big fallback. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure we've watched that. Then, of course, certainly a death match. New Jack throwing Vic Grimes off of the scaffold in XPW into the ring full of tables.
You know who I can't stand watching? Any of his matches, and he's a favorite, especially with the underground wrestling and like deathmatch, is Low Key.
Really, yeah?
I can't stand watching Low Key. I don't know why.
He has a horrible reputation.
His bad reputation. It just seems like he has a bad fucking attitude and he's reckless.
For sure.
Like every time I watch him, like I don't. All right, this is one. I think deathmatch wrestling is its own category apart from wrestling, because it has nothing about wrestling in it. There's like no real psychology. There's no real story told. There's no.
Hold on here. What? The fuck did you just say?
You heard me.
Sorry, say that again.
There's no psychology
In deathmatch wrestling?
Yeah.
You don't think there's psychology with the crazy gimmicks these guys have?
No.
There's psychology in being able to endure these things, firstly. A new aspect of it is being able to no-sell some of these things. I know a lot of people aren't big finishers, the Japanese style 12 German suplexes, 12 super kicks, Canadian destroyer, no-sell. But they do it in deathmatch wrestling now. Guys will take insane bumps, get 100 light tubes, 15 light tubes at once broken over their head, and, fucking power up, no-sell it.
Yeah, but what story does that tell?
That's a bad example of that.
That's not telling a story.
That's counteracting. You don't have to sell.
That's just
because it really fucking hurts. Is one thing.
I was gonna say that's just showing toughness. I guess that's not really telling a story.
Tournaments.
That's why I said like wrestling and deathmatch wrestling. I don't consider them the same at all. Like really at all.
There are running storylines in deathmatch wrestling if you watch.
I guess there's shades of one or the other.
Oh no, there
wrestling
is.
in it. But I don't know. I just never consider it the same thing.
Well, it's never ran in any promotions that you follow regularly either. There's never been a deathmatch division in Ring of Honor or anything like that.
No, and I don't think there will be either.
Anytime you see it, it's just where you see it here and there, so you're not going to be into the story of it or anything like that. And the tournament...
That's probably true.
The tournament is a good delivery mechanism for a death match if it does so, in fact, lack psychology, as you say, because it builds in the psychology of the winner ultimately having to endure 3 matches.
Right.
So by the end of it, you have 2 guys that look like they've been through a gunfight in a train wreck.
That's got to be really taxing on them, too. Especially if it's... Do they hold these over, like, one day? Or are these a 2-day thing?
Depends. 8-man tournaments or etc. Can be 1 day or 2 day. They'll do.
If it was 1 day, even 2 days got to be brutal.
They'll do 32-man 2 day tournaments.
So brutal on the body.
Mm-hmm. Necro Butcher was one of the best at just going all out and being completely fucked up by the main event and just being caked in blood and beat the fuck up.
Right.
So
I do find it super interesting. Like I said, not taking anything away from it at all. That's just like my own kind of like observation, I guess, of that. Yeah, like I said, not taking anything away from it. I still find it really entertaining.
I think there's storylines as far as working a body part and psychology as far as shit like that. I think there's that aplenty. Do you mean outside the ring there's no storylines? Because obviously there's promos and shit like that nowadays.
No, I mean in
Social
ring
media.
psychology. I'm sure all the matches have their own like storyline. I'm just talking about ring psychology and story.
What do you think?
Story told in the ring.
You think as far as working a body part, selling a body part,
like working a crowd, like the body part thing is a big thing, but like working the crowd or like how
they're in the crowd. They do lines of cocaine in the crowd.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. What do you mean working the crowd?
No, work at like heel or face, anything like that. Like I don't really ever see that.
That's true. They're mostly all fucking faces. You're right. That's a good point because what they do is so gnarly and they're out there to sell tickets and T-shirts and like I can't think.
But like I said, like the
guys.
deathmatch scene is different from wrestling.
It's up to the fans to decide who gets over though. In deathmatch,
that's
more than
wrestling
anything.
in general nowadays. I mean, a promotion can push a guy and be like, I don't want to.
Touche.
I don't want to like this guy, or vice versa. I'd be like, this guy's a bad guy. It's like, fuck no, whatever. He's awesome.
You want us to boo for him? We're gonna cheer for him instead.
Yeah, but all right.
Now, one guy I wanted to ask you about.
That's my problem with wrestling fans now. You know what? It's not even the fans' fault. I will blame organizations.
What do you think about Raw? Let's get into Raw then.
Well, hold on. This is across the board. Promotions now cater to the vocal, I don't know, minority, maybe minority, majority, whatever. Everyone that just bitches and complains or tries to get on a bandwagon, a promotion will jump on that bandwagon, and as soon as fans get what they want, the fans just fucking turn on it. And that shit drives me nuts.
Example.
A year ago, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, even 6 months ago, they were both like, push this guy, push him, push him, push him, push him. This is our champion. This is who we want. They win both of them win the belt at WrestleMania. Fast forward a couple months, nobody fucking cares.
Mm-hmm.
Until we jump on the next bandwagon. And then they'll get what they want. Kofi Kingston's another one. Like, I was never on that bandwagon at all.
Neither was I.
But everyone jumped on that bandwagon. Oh, Kofi Kingston, we want him to be champion. He's the fucking man.
Why, though? He's been there for 7 years. Yeah, but so is Michael Cole. He's been there for longer. Why isn't Michael Cole champion?
Seriously.
Just because you've been there for 7 fucking years.
And that's a valid fucking point. Like, he's been there, exactly, he's been there longer. He's been there almost 20 years. That's a moot argument. That's stupid. And he wins a belt, and he hasn't had fucking one decent program against anybody.
He is in a tough spot trying to be a successful singles champion as part of a triad.
A trio, yeah.
That is kind of tough.
But
I'd like to see Big E as a bad guy. I really liked when he first started out. I think he's a big guy. I think he'd be interesting as a bad guy.
Sure. I'd like to just see the New Day like just do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Big E turned on him or something fresh.
Xavier
but again,
Woods.
I say that, and then I just sound like one of the fans is like, we want this.
No, not like that. You know what I was thinking? I want a match inside the Firefly Funhouse, like one of these old matches we're talking about, like a Boiler Room Brawl style match.
They did that with fucking
now they can do it again.
With the stupid fucking
now it'll be
House
in a big
of Horrors match.
It'll be in a big colorful house, and imagine
Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Imagine Roman Reigns grabbing Bray Wyatt and throwing him through a big suplexing him through a stuffed chair with eyes and a mouth on it, and Bray Wyatt going, "Oh God, Mrs. Chair,
Cherry,
your stuffing is everywhere. Oh my God." in a bright house, throwing each other through walls and shit.
I'm not on board. Especially we just got done talking about deathmatch wrestling.
Well, then where's the next?
Now you're gonna throw wrestlers into fucking stuffed chairs?
I want more matches in cool places.
All right.
And more balloons above the ring.
The Mississippi River, hardcore match, hardcore Holly and Al Snow.
Yeah.
Back in '99.
Yeah, that was great. Not a great match, but
no. But it did end up in the Mississippi River.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Extreme Rules? I watched the highlights of it.
It was probably the best WWE pay-per-view of 2019 so far.
Think so?
Yeah. On the matches
It was
were
forwards
decent.
or backwards compatible, I feel. You could watch it in reverse. Either way, you could watch it in any order, I think.
Yeah. But no, you know what? WWE pay-per-views are like that now. Like, they fucking start off shows with heavyweight title matches. Like,
The Undertaker in an opening match was cool. Right?
you know, it's funny. You watch Roman Reigns mark out on the side of the ring when he's tagging with Undertaker. He's standing
Really?
there watching Undertaker wrestle, and if you look at Roman Reigns, he's like, this is awesome. I'm going to tag match with the Undertaker. It's like, what a fucking douche.
Undertaker almost dropped somebody on the tombstone. Did you see that?
No, did he?
Yeah, well, he
Again?
He went. Well, no, he went to pick him up and kind of stumbled and couldn't make it one quick motion because
He's got to retire.
Roman Irish whipped a guy to him, and he went to pick him up quick, and whoop, then he went no. But he was definitely almost.
I feel like the Undertaker's last few years has completely destroyed his legacy. Like, I always felt, who am I, but that Undertaker should have lost at WrestleMania to whoever and ended it there. The streak comes to an end, and he calls it quits by going out with a loss, which all wrestlers, do. That's what they say in the business. That's how you do it. You go out with a loss, and what better way for the Undertaker to go out than a loss at WrestleMania? The streak comes to an end. His career comes to an end.
Yeah.
It would have been awesome. And Bray Wyatt should have been the one to do it way back when. Brock Lesnar, I'm fine with. He's legitimate. He's like one badass. You can't fucking deny it.
I heard him called the last real hooker in pro wrestling. Throwing around HJs, I guess that means. If you're in on the business, when wrestling, when they say hooker, they mean a ring rat that'll jack you on for $10. Now they say he's one of the last real guys in wrestling that if you try to fuck with him in the middle of a match, he will fuck you up.
Yeah. He will. I mean, look at he's got a long list of them. Like,
Yeah, he's an accomplished heavyweight
UFC.
MMA fighter.
MMA is UFC, like top of, I guess, called.
How do you think a fight would go between him and Braun Strowman?
I don't know as though Braun Strowman has any fighting skill, so I think that would go to Brock Lesnar. Like, Brock Lesnar has the combat skills.
I think so too.
I think Braun could probably have a hell of a punch. Mm-hmm. Maybe not. I don't
I'd
know.
say no.
But he's definitely fucking not someone I'd really want to like find out myself.
On the way to the Deathmatch podcast, I thought that that end of that match was pretty fucking stupid with Strowman and not Strowman, Lashley with the body
Yeah, it was
slam.
Lashley and Strowman. Oh, all right, yeah.
The body slam into nothing, and then he busts through a wall.
Oh,
Like, where in the world does anybody have a wall that is just sheetrock with no stud, no support?
WWE, my friend.
That's gotta go.
Surprised it wasn't cardboard boxes.
That's gotta go, man. Just a sheet of sheetrock, and that is not. It doesn't exist anywhere as any kind of permanent structure.
It's like,
And the camera angle was horrible.
19 inches apart.
It didn't even show what
Or
they
18,
broke through.
Fucking 19.
That was I did not enjoy that.
Oh, you see the camera angle of the Lacey Evans, her ass shot, and it says Seth on the back of her tights. I thought that was special. That was definitely Attitude Era. You didn't see that?
What happened?
There's a camera angle of all right. Lacey Evans was coming out during the tag match, at the end of the show.
Yes.
All right. Well, she's going into.
I liked watching her. I like that moonsault she does.
She's going into the ring, and she has Seth on the back of her tights.
Okay.
On their ass of her tights, and she bends over, getting in the ring, and the cameraman is placed right in front of her, and there's just this full like shot of just her ass. It looks like a porn shot or something. It's like, wow, that's something you don't normally see. I don't know if that was planned or not, but it definitely wasn't a PG era thing.
Why did I watch a 40-minute video of highlights that shows clipped versions of the entrances as well as clipped versions of pre-match fucking
I know what
interviews?
you watched. That shit sucks.
Why the fuck did I watch that and they cut that out?
Because
and if they're showing me pre-match interviews, maybe show me one or two near falls.
What
you know?
you watched, it almost seems like I've seen those for Raw and shit. It almost seems like it's on a timed
Yes.
cut, and it makes cuts. Some of them are in the middle of something, and then other things like there's no need to show this. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a headlock spot in the middle. Those spots suck.
That's what I watched. I really enjoyed Cesaro and
Cesaro always fucking. You know what's nice? Paul Heyman has Cesaro in his roster, and I know Paul Heyman's a huge Cesaro fan, like real big Cesaro fan. They had a match on Raw this past week, Cesaro and Aleister Black.
oh really?
That was fucking good.
I liked the main event, the 10-man battle royal. I didn't think I would like it, but it was pretty enjoyable.
I didn't catch the 10-man battle royal. I actually fell asleep.
It's exciting.
Got back home from work and
Orton hit RKO's on everybody at one point. Cesaro went on a rampage and hit about maybe a dozen or more, running European uppercuts into the corner, different corners of the ring, just bouncing around, wrecking everybody. That was really entertaining.
And Seth Rollins won, didn't he?
Yeah. So they're doing Seth and Brock at SummerSlam. Finally, we get to see it.
Yeah, I know.
Finally, the long-awaited showdown.
I know.
Who do you think should have won instead? I mean, Cesaro.
I would have loved to have seen Cesaro. I would have been completely A-okay with Cesaro, but I would have loved to have seen Bobby Lashley so I can actually finally fucking see that match. I'll never see it. I guarantee you they'll never have it happen.
That match hasn't happened?
No.
Lashley and Seth Rollins one-on-one?
No, Lashley and Lesnar.
Oh. Yeah, that's silly that hasn't happened. Why? Because they want to save it for when it doesn't happen ever, and
I think so.
they don't want to hurt either of their images.
I think that's what it is.
That's weird.
I bet you Brock Lesnar's like, I'm not fucking facing it.
Maybe.
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Guy gets paid $500,000 just to show up on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Wish I made that kind of money. Jeez.
They have to be in the same weight class, right?
I think they got to be pretty close.
So Lashley is probably as close to being able to kick Brock's ass as anybody is in the WWE.
Yeah, he fought in what?
Pride?
No, it wasn't Pride.
Oh, Bellator or something?
I think it was Bellator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that Brock doesn't want to fight the guy that can kick his ass most.
Someone that could probably stand a chance against him.
So they can't work together. So
if he gets
telling me on this
Brock doesn't
podcast-
get his way, he can't just fucking go ape shit.
So you're telling ape shit.
Yeah.
You're telling me Brock is racist
Possibly.
if he's not able to work professionally with the guy. What's his big issue with Lashley? He loves eyebrows.
I think he doesn't like the lack of eyebrows. The lack of expression.
He's jealous of Lashley's total absence of eyebrows.
Yeah, but Brock almost has no eyebrows.
I know,
if you
that's
look
why
far away.
Yeah, I know. He's jealous that Lashley has
He's
none.
not the only fucking one with no eyebrows, and he's pissed. Dude, you fucking walking all over. You have no eyebrows like me. You're an MMA like me.
Eyebrows
you have
are for
huge
women.
fucking shoulders like me. Get off my dick, bro.
That's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. So I would have.
You watched the whole pay-per-view?
No.
Why is it called Extreme Rules when there's only 3 stipulation matches?
I think the only one without a stipulation match was the mixed tag match, and I think that was the stipulation. What else was?
What do you mean without? What other stipulations were there?
What was the card?
Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens. Cesaro didn't have a stipulation against Aleister Black.
No.
No. AJ Styles and Ricochet, which looked good.
That was a good match.
Yeah, no stipulation though.
No.
The tag match, the New Day match, whatever. No stipulation. The only stipulations I can think of were the opener with The Undertaker, the main event, which was Anything Goes, and right in the middle they had a stipulation match as well.
The mixed tag match?
Yeah.
Oh, that was because Becky got fucking nailed in the face with a chair.
I thought it was pretty awesome how she did the leg drop off the top, or off the middle, and he did the splash off the top.
Splash.
It also kind of made me think, though, of the WNBA. Like, the women can't really dunk. They got to go off the middle of the ladder, you know? They should have gone off of 2. It was an awesome visual, though, them doing it, but it did make me think, like, well, that's kind of, you know.
If there's anything I don't like about the whole Seth and Becky, like, bandwagon, whatever thing, it's the fact that now that they're really pushing them as, like, being this on-screen couple.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just...
So he's banging a man.
Yeah, the man.
Wow.
So I was like, eh.
You ever seen his dick?
Twice. Maybe just once. I'm lying. Once.
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He sent it to you?
No, I had to click on it. I saw it on Twitter. They're like, everybody was roasting him about it. And like Seth Rollins'
that's
dick
right. I
pic.
forgot about that.
And there was an associated naked picture of another female wrestler or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm looking.
It was nice to know that Seth Rollins can be in as great a shape as he wants to be, but can't work out his dick. You still got a pretty medium-looking dick there, buddy.
I actually forgot about that whole thing. They just shoved that right under the carpet.
right in the back of the memory bank.
Yeah. Oh, that never happened.
I'll look that up when the old lady's not home in 2021. Click.
Yeah. So Cesaro and Aleister Black.
That was great.
Way off topic here. They had a match on Raw, and the Black Mass. I fucking love Aleister Black's like finisher. That
I love his kicks.
Reverse roundhouse kick. Yeah,
he's my favorite guy that's unknown to me since I started watching WWE again a little awesome. Bit.
So they had a good match, and it was the ending of the match. Aleister Black just actually kicks the mouth guard out of Cesaro's.
He kicked the fuck out of him. Yeah. Kicked him right in the face.
Kicks it out of his mouth. So that was a good spot. And then, which I was super excited about. Like I honestly really didn't care anything about Raw up until. Not saying it was a bad show. I was like, okay. Because I kind of knew what was going to happen. But the re-debut of Bray Wyatt, I fucking loved it.
He came out and hit somebody with his finisher, right?
Yeah, Finn Balor. The thing is if you watch don't watch the highlights on WWE's YouTube channel.
Intercontinental title pre-show title change. Nakamura won it from Finn.
Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura. You put them on the pre-show. And those two should have been like right under the main event. If you just let them go, I don't see. There's still things I don't get, but whatever. So yeah, So Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt re-debuts, attacks Finn Balor, but if you watch it on WWE Network, like the crowd's like they're into it and everything. If you actually watch the straight highlights, they actually get a real fucking loud holy shit chant going the whole arena when he debuts.
That's him showing up in person?
Yeah, it's way more exciting watching it from some other third source, the highlights from it. Because you watch in WWE, they edit out the holy shit chants and you just hear fucking just regular rumbles and grumbles in the background. And that just takes it all of it away. So yeah, if you find that, look it up on not WWE. But I was stoked for that because I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan. This guy's fucking so underutilized.
So you can't wait for the Firefly Funhouse death match either, huh?
Absolutely not. I want to see those fucking puppets used to choke people out. I want to see those puppets choke people out. I think it'd be awesome.
It would be.
Fucking puppet match.
If somebody had to fight the puppets also?
Oh.
Hey, where'd you get the VCR?
What?
Has that been there this whole time?
Is that what that is?
Why does it say VCJ on the side? Isn't it supposed to be JVC?
No.
What's a Sorny?
Oh, that's usually what I get after work. Anyway.
So the front of it says Sorny, but the remote says Panaphonics.
Sanaphonics.
What's a magnet box, bro?
Magnet box?
Yeah.
Oh, I got that. You know. It's right there.
Oh, yeah, the magnet box.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to debut this now. Re-debut it. This has been a thing for a while. At the house, kind of off camera. But what I'm going to end up doing is on this show, we're going to have a 4-man tournament. Maybe even more, depending on who we get to come on the show or whatever. And we're going to do a thing. We're going to still lay out the ground rules and everything. We're going to have a 4-man tournament of any kind of retro gaming. The winner of the tournament will hold this championship to parade around in the nude if they want, which would be weird. His eyes lit up. When that will happen, I don't know, but it will be recorded.
Not if, when.
Oh boy.
When I win this fucking title, not only will I DDT Queso onto it and give him a Hurricane Rana to show him that I speak his native tongue, I will spray paint NWO on the front of this belt and throw it in the Hudson River and throw down all the names of the people that have held it before me.
And the
Terry
trash can.
Funk, Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, and they can all kiss my ass.
It's like 3 different promos. So yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm actually I'll be the first champion because I own this shit.
You're gonna choose the game.
I choose the game.
When I win it,
that's gonna be the one thing. That will be the. We'll continue that. Is whoever's the champion, the challenger can challenge the champion to any game of their choosing, and the champion can't say no.
The challenger should also have to earn the spot of challenger by beating somebody else. There has to be a number one contender match to set up every title match.
Of course.
You can't just have somebody.
It's not going to be like a
title.
24/7. Well, technically, I guess it could be like.
When I win it, I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it upside down to show disrespect to you and your whole house.
What?
Yep.
You're not going to be in the tournament. So yeah, we're going to do that, and I think actually we come up some of the ground rules right now. That's one. I don't think any of the games should be like, maybe we'll keep the games like 5-8 minutes max. You don't want to get them too long.
Why is there a Monopoly guy on the side plate?
Because they could even be board games.
An
Even though
8-minute
Monopoly
game
would be like fucking 18 goddamn hours.
Yeah, that's the
Or chess.
That's the Terry Funk, Shane Douglas, Sabu triple threat ECW match.
Yeah.
Hour long. Main event.
That would be 2. Maybe like a special like thing we have like once or twice a year.
Who's on your side?
Super. The same thing. I got a queen chess piece and the same guy celebrating with Mario coins, silver Mario coins.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm winning this playing GoldenEye, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck somebody up on the N64.
I almost bought an N64.
I bet you Charlie thinks he's good at GoldenEye. If he thinks that Scary Movie 4 is a good fucking movie, he can believe in anything. How fucking random is that I in a group chat said, we were talking about a comedy podcast, and I said, if Charlie says that Scary Movie 4 is his favorite fucking horror movie, I swear to God, I'm going to punch him in the fucking mouth. And then 2 weeks later, it's actually a pretty good movie. What was his defense even for that?
Because...
Dude, it had all 3 of the Wayans brothers in it.
No.
It was actually 4.
No, I think his defense was, it didn't reinvigorate the series. It just kind of made light of the whole spoof thing. I don't know.
Was that the one that was like Signs? That one was garbage.
I don't know. I told you, man. I've watched 1 and 2. 2 I loved, and after that I didn't care.
All right, well, Queso, I'm going to fuck you up a GoldenEye. I'm going to shoot you in the face with a Cougar Magnum over and over. I'm going to fuck you up.
We got to come up with what the first game or set of games are going to be for this 4-man tournament. And then I guess the best way to do it is just draw numbers for the spots.
Fuck that. I want Queso. Opening match. I'm putting that fucking asshole out of his misery.
What if he beats you?
I don't get that. He won't.
But what if he does?
I'll kill myself on camera.
Oh.
How do you say it? I'm going to commit Harry Carey. 20 hot dogs would equal roughly a nickel.
I'm gonna die.
I will become the fucking commentator from the Chicago Cubs on fucking the podcast if that happens. I will literally turn into Harry Carey myself if that happens. I'll get a tattoo of Harry Carey if Charlie beats me at anything.
On your face, on your forehead. Harry Carey looking over your eyebrow.
No, that's not going to happen.
Why?
No.
Fuck you.
Charlie's not going to beat me.
I think it'd be interesting.
He can't challenge me to Final Fantasy or some shit. Those games are made for one player to play alone.
Well, no, the first matchup we can't have specific like I'm not gonna like have Brawlhalla or anything like that in my or Warhawk in my first like set because I'm fucking good at those.
How many multiplayer games do you think Charlie even played growing up? Like,
I don't know.
I think he plays RPGs because they're made for sad, lonely people to play alone in their bedroom. There's a reason he plays one-player games. I feel like he's going to get destroyed.
We have to play a game that's like neutral to everybody.
Yeah.
I have an emulator. I said that like it's a fucking like that's like super fucking geek.
I've
I just went like
I've
super
got a
fucking,
device.
Yes, I have a device. I have a checkers board. No.
Charlie's probably played at least every game at least once, I'd say.
I would say not.
You ever felt how soft and feminine his hands are? He tried to touch me once.
No, he didn't try.
It's like satin.
You let him. Saw that. I was jealous, sort of. Damn
So
it.
what game could we... I was going to say, like, oh yeah, we'll play something like Mech Warrior, but he probably played that for 3 months in a row when he was a kid or something, you know?
That's going to be a tough one.
Gran Turismo. Need for Speed.
A racing game?
Yeah.
It's sort of generic.
Pick up and play.
A Mario Party kind of deal.
Yeah, I'd be shitty at that. I'd be down to play that. I don't care.
I think I'd be shitty at that too. But that would be, you know what? That would be something that fucking Charlie's good at.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to set it up so Charlie wins it right off the bat and you can challenge him to GoldenEye initially, right?
You know, if I could pick 25 video games right now that I could beat you at without a shadow of a doubt and win this title. This belt is going to be passed around more than Charlie.
Charlie's not passed around at all.
Well,
Poor guy's passed over all the time.
like what if you challenge me? What if Rich challenges me to play Madden or something like that? I'm just going to have to give the belt up.
I would still try.
Yeah, I mean I will.
It'd be like Madden, like a 1/4 game. Like play for 1/4, like whatever it may be, 5, 8,
I'm actually
6,
really good at
10
Madden.
minutes. I haven't played Madden in years. I used to be good at Madden.
Never played it.
Probably not very good now, but
What's your number one game of all time that you're the greatest at?
Warhawk, without a doubt.
Warhawk?
I beat the number 1 ranked person in the world. I shit you not.
Really? What, online?
Mm-hmm.
How many people are ranked? There's a lot of people that play it? Or you just got the
No, and back in the day, it was the ranking was by points, and I think there was like 1.6 or 1.5 million people playing it, and it was well, all online games are regional. It was Joker 666 was a screen name. And I jumped online, and we were called NR. It was a huge clan. We got so big, we actually had to make NR 1, 2, and 3, because you can only have like 100 or 150 people per clan. We merged with another clan, like the number 4 ranked clan, and we had to make 3 of them. Well, I was in NR. We were called Nuclear Rampage.
Oh, I thought since it was back in the late 90s, you were going to say no retards.
No. No, it was 2008, 2009, or into 2010.
You still could have said that. Was that a rule? Was that a standing rule?
It was. It was. So I jumped online in one of the matches, and I've already talked about this in a different podcast, but if you didn't know what it is, Warhawk is a micro gameplay, red versus blue, basically army game. So you could have guys on foot, like driving jeeps or whatever with
like
rifles.
Command and Conquer.
It's third-person shooter.
Oh wow.
You could have them running around, like doing whatever, and then you can run over to a jet.
I could beat you with that.
And no, you can't. And then you could. I'm telling you, I really don't think there's anybody, especially in a jet. I would jump in any server and automatically, when I was at the peak, know that I would be one of, if not the best player on the map, like without any kind of doubt.
I picture myself in that scenario like I'm the Val Kilmer, but you're not the other guy.
Tom Cruise?
You're not Tom Cruise.
Oh, I'm Nicole Kidman.
Nope. You're not even in that movie.
I'm the director.
You're in Hot Shots, and it's not even Hot Shots. It's Hot Shots Part 2, and you're Charlie Sheen's brother from 2.5 Men. You're that guy. The guy with the big glasses.
Yeah.
You think you're that guy, and I'm Val Kilmer.
So I'm still making the money.
You're still gonna die though.
So are you, eventually.
Cruise ain't in the movie.
Anyway, yeah, so I jumped online one of the servers, and he just happened to be there in the list. I'm like, oh, shit.
You actually beat the number one guy? You
Yeah.
didn't just outrank him, you actually beat him?
No, there was no way I could outrank him because he
played nonstop.
played right from the get-go, and I started 2 years later. So ranking was points-based. And in the meantime, like somewhere in between like the start of the game and when I started playing, they nerfed the point system. So he had so many fucking points. There was no possible way I was catching him. But as far as skill goes, I weight caught him. So we jumped
nerfing the point system, meaning making
points, less points.
Padding it, making it more safe so it's harder to earn.
Yes. So when he got hit by the points, it didn't hurt so bad.
All right.
No.
No, I got it. You ruined it for me, but I understand what you mean.
So
though, I think.
Yes. So there was no way I was catching up to him in points. But I ended up running into him in an online game, and I flew against him and beat him in an online game. We fought each other for 45 minutes.
One-on-one, or is that in a...
We were one... No, it was 20 versus 20.
Really?
But we went one-on-one. No one was in the air with us.
Holy shit.
So I was like, fuck it, I'll go after this guy. We'll see what happens. And I didn't know, it was like, this guy might whip my ass. He's number one ranked player in the world, but he didn't. He didn't whip my ass. So that was one of those proud things in gaming. It was one of those stupid things, but I really hold like at a high pedestal.
Do you remember roughly what your score was against him at the end of those 45 minutes? Was it 24 to 15 or something, or what was it?
1.
You only killed him once? You guys just...
It was just constantly chasing each other. Like
that sounds horrible. That doesn't sound fun at all.
I was fucking sweating.
I'd be 5 minutes in, like, I need to smoke a bowl. I can't fucking do this.
No, it was fucking gaming pride on the line.
For 40... That's insane. Wow.
Yep. No, there was... He couldn't kill me, and I couldn't kill him for the longest time.
I tried to play the wrestling game online a couple of years ago. I bought a couple copies.
I can't play sports.
I bought one for Senor Truck. We were playing online. Then we'd have a half-hour match, and we played it for one night, and I was like, man, this sucks. I have no time to smoke a bowl or drink a beer or, like, usually in Grand Theft Auto, I'll be like, man, I'm going to go make a sandwich. You drive, and I'll fucking hop in this car and drive around,
Yeah, GTA Online is fun.
I can't commit myself to sitting there with a controller for half an hour straight and intensely playing one thing. I can't do it. I can do it naturally, but if I have to do it, I don't want to do it.
No, this is also back in the time when I was addicted to like Warhawk online gameplay. I would literally spend 8 to 10 hours, probably 5 or 6 days a week playing that.
That's a lot.
It was all through the winter.
That's a lot.
Like, yeah, I know. It was just intense. I was like hooked. It went to from like September or something of whatever year it was through to like May, and like it's like suddenly I came to, and all of a sudden like winter was over and it was spring. I'm like, I guess I better go outside. Like literally, I must have to go outside.
Level 500.
Yeah. No, I only made it to major because they had like the military rankings and everything. So I got up to major, and I think that's where I still am. I actually popped it in a few weeks ago, like 3-4 weeks ago, and the online servers are way shut down now, but just to like fly and shit. And I tell you what, I am rusty compared to what I used to be. I used to make pinpoint turns and shit like that. I was like, I'm rusty now. But yeah, I had so much fun during that game.
I'll have to find videos of it. Warhammer.
No, not Warhammer. That's something else.
Oh, okay.
Warhawk.
What buttons do I have to hit to dip my balls on your face when I fucking kill you in it and win the title and piss on it?
Circle, I think. If I remember correctly, I think that kneels down.
Circle.
Don't quote me. I think it's circle.
And left and right trigger is the fish hook buttons, right?
Yeah.
For when I face fuck your dead corpse.
I remember the glitches and everything on the game. Awesome. How would we play like fucking Grand Theft Auto? Challenge each other. You could have a gunfight, I guess.
Go to my house.
No.
I got Xbox. You got PlayStation, all right?
Yeah, I wish they were cross. They're supposed to have cross platforms. They do with some games. I have a game that's cross-platform. It's not Warhammer. It's actually, I think it might be Warhammer. I don't know. It's a tank game, a World War II tank game.
Oh.
War Thunder. I think it's War Thunder. That's PC and PS4. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We will.
We'll figure it out. And soon enough, I'll be toting the title around.
That's the end of the show. Alright, everybody, this is my last episode. I'm moving out of state. I'm leaving Albany, Georgia forever, so thanks for having me.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, man, I quit.
I'm
out.
Oh. Bye.